What's good, you back to the video? We got JxmyHighroller. They're breaking the NBA again. Now, I clicked this video only because I saw Stephen Curry on the thumbnail. And you know, I'm the biggest Stephen Curry fan in the world. So let's see what JxmyHighroller is talking about, man. And let's get right into this video.
A gimmick so underutilized that the league had to move the... Over the last decade, three-pointers have taken over the NBA. The shot transformed from a gimmick so underutilized that the league had to move the three-point line closer to the hoop just to incentivize teams to take more, to a shot that now determines the outcome of many games. But after an entire era of seemingly exponential growth, recently the barrage of three-pointers appeared to stabilize. In fact, the league had become so saturated with threes that the scales had flipped and two-pointers became slightly more valuable than three-pointers. Just like anything else, something that was good and effective, but only up to a certain point, and that point had been reached. The shot was pushed to its fullest extent, and the three-point revolution had met its inevitable conclusion. Except it didn't. This season, teams across the NBA are shooting more threes than ever before.
And you know why this is happening, bro? Because of one person, bro. One single being out of everybody that ever played a game of basketball. One person caused this. And this is the best player of all time. My GOAT, Wardell Stephen Curry, bro. This is proof that he is the greatest, most influential player. He's more influential than LeBron James, bro. He's the most influential player to ever touch foot on planet Earth, bro. And you can't argue that at all. I think that's a pretty common take. Curry's the most influential player ever, bro. And that's a fact. He's more influential than Allen Iverson.
All of their shots being taken from beyond the arc. A new generation of stars more trigger happy from three than the players that came before them. And games that feel like one long three-point contest. Is the NBA on a path to being a league featuring exclusively long balls, layups, and nothing else? Well, in 2015, right about the time the league began to shift away from the basket, Steph Curry attempted 8 three-pointers per game, the highest total in the league that season, and just the 5th player in NBA history to attempt at least 8 threes a game. By the next season, 3 other players joined him as ultra-high-volume three-point shooters. But by 2020, the number of players across the league attempting at least 8 threes a game jumped to 15. The three-point revolution was long in effect by this point, and it would remain at this level for the next few seasons. The league seemingly finding its equilibrium on threes and how many are even worth taking. Until this season, where there are 24 players in the NBA who are attempting what was once considered a historic amount of threes.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. 20 players, bro. Most of y'all don't need to be shooting this many three-pointers, bro. If you're not Stephen Curry, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, and I'll give Wemby the benefit of the doubt just because he's just a future top 3 player of all time. He gets the benefit of the doubt. Them are the only players that should be shooting more than 8 threes a game, bro. If you not none of them 5 players, stop shooting threes, bro. Take it into the paint, do some layups, do some mid ranges. You know what I'm saying? Because most of y'all are not that good, to be honest, bro. And I'm just being real, man. I'm just being 100% honest.
just being 100% honest, man. Ago, something is changing.
Anthony Edwards can shoot that many threes too. I forgot Anthony Edwards too, bro. He can have that.
NBA right now.
He been shooting pretty good lately.
The end of the three-point era, or are we just getting?
Kevin Durant too. My bad. I'm done pausing.
In 2016, the Golden State Warriors completely redefined how basketball is played. For the first time, a team that centered their offense around the three ball proved that it can be a championship-winning strategy. And they weren't just a three-point-oriented team, they were the three-point team. They bucked age-old notions of what great basketball could look like, their star duo named after their shooting abilities, the most influential team of our generation. That season, the Warriors shot 31.6 three-pointers per game, the second most of any team in league history and by far the most of any true championship caliber team. This season, every single team in the NBA attempts more threes a game than the 20.
The Celtics? 51 three-pointers? What? Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's crazy.
Reshaping the league
53s,
far more than
bro.
anyone could have anticipated. But teams aren't just shooting more threes than ever before. They are approaching the point where the majority of all shots taken in a game are three-pointers. Here's a game between the Hornets and the Celtics. And with 10:36 left in the third quarter, Jason Tatum attempts a 3. The Hornets come back and attempt a 3 as well. Celtics turn it over, Hornets attempt a 3. Celtics come down and attempt another 3. Hornets come down and attempt a 3, followed by a Celtics 3, followed by a Hornets 3, followed by another 3. Celtics switch it up for a moment with a layup, and then right back to a Hornets 3. Turnover, Hornets 3, Celtics 3, Hornets 3, Celtics 3. This was a real sense in an NBA game. This actually happened. A 4-minute stretch where both teams combined for nearly 14 consecutive three-point attempts.
That's crazy.
If it wasn't for an easy layup at the rim. This is insane, and it's not even out of the ordinary this season. Here's another sequence between the Celtics and the Knicks.
Always the Celtics, man, trying to copy the Warriors.
So you never know what you're going to get in these situations. But how about a 3-ball followed up with a turnover, another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, another turnover, 3-ball, turnover, 3-ball. Oh look, there's a layup. And then back to another 3-ball, and a turnover, and a 3-ball, and take a wild guess, a 3-ball. 3 straight minutes of 3-pointers.
That's crazy, bro.
From the Celtics alone, and they missed all 8. But even this was...
Like, it gets to a point, bro. Like, if you missing that many 3-pointers, bro, take it to the cup. Pump fake, drive. Pump fake, drive. Pump fake, drive. It's not that hard, bro.
Nothing.
I could have went pro if I wanted to, bro, but
the Hornets and the Hawks.
Now I'm here.
With a minute and 45 seconds left.
It's just fast, bro. Pump fake, drive,
the Hornets
bro.
made a mid-range jump shot. What's so special about this mid-range bucket? Well, nothing, other than the fact that this would be the last shot they would make outside of layups and 3-pointers for the rest of the entire game.
That's crazy,
for the next
bro.
37 minutes of game time, outside of free throws, every single point the Hornets scored until the end of the game was from right here or out here. In fact, throughout this entire game, the Hornets scored 120 points. Only 4 of them came from a shot that wasn't a 3-pointer, a layup, or a free throw. Has the complex, rich, and diverse game that we love truly been reduced to this? It certainly feels that way at times. Through 100 games so far this season, a whopping 42% of all field goal attempts have been from beyond the 3-point line. A total that has nearly doubled since 2012. Sometimes it feels like we're watching one big 3-point contest, because at times, we are. In fact, at the current rate the league is going, which may or may not continue, half of all shots taken in an NBA game will be 3-pointers by the 2032 season. But it's not just that teams are attempting more 3-pointers. Teams have regressed to taking only the best, most efficient shots on the court. 3-pointers, layups when they're available, and hardly anything in between. Excluding free throws, 86% of all points scored from NBA teams this season have been from beyond the 3-point line or within 6 feet of the basket. 20 years ago, only 65% of all points were scored from these zones. Now, this upward trend of near and far and nothing in between may not continue. Over the past few seasons, there has been some stagnation in 3-point attempt rate, so there may be a shift in the other direction in the coming years. But the NBA tends to follow the leader. What are the winning teams doing, and how can we adapt, emulate, and optimize that style of play? And right now, as much as we can't stand it, winning basketball looks a lot like a 3-point shootout. Before the beginning of this season, Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla said the team planned on shooting a lot more threes this year. They did the math, and it checked out. We need more threes. But outside of Harden's Rockets, last year's Celtics attempted more 3-pointers than any other team in NBA history. It was a recipe that was so good, it helped them win a championship. How many more threes could they possibly shoot? 51. This year's Celtics are shooting 51 3-pointers per game. That is 56% of all of their field goal attempts. Arguably the best team.
Like, bro, why are you copying the Warriors, bro? Make up your own game plan, bro. This is really, like, messed up. I'm not gonna lie, bro, because the Warriors should really have about 7 rings by now, but we got teams like this that want to copy the Warriors, bro. Be yourself, bro.
In the league, coming off of a championship, is shooting 6 more 3-pointers per game than any other team in league history. But are 3-pointers and the sheer volume of them really a recipe for winning basketball? Is this truly the future of the game and what teams will need to do to compete? Well, so far this season, teams that win the 3-point battle, when they score more net points from 3-pointers than their opponent, have won 72% of the time. And this one metric has been more indicative to winning than just about any other. Last season, there was an 85.6% correlation between three-point percentage and winning percentage, the strongest correlation between the two variables in NBA history. Make more three-pointers, greatly increase your odds of winning the game. But that's pretty obvious. Of course, making more threes will better your odds. We have seen massive underdogs win games by pouring in three-pointers and hitting more than they probably should have. Will teams eventually reach the threshold of three-pointers that are worth taking in a game? Or is the shot just so valuable that we will inevitably see a league that finds no value in taking any shot outside of the long ball? There must be a sweet spot between shooting exclusively threes and no threes, where we will eventually see the limit of good, viable three-pointers. Oddly enough, the league may have already met that limit. As previously mentioned, three-pointers used to yield more points per shot than two-pointers for many years. Teams eventually figured this out and they capitalized on it. But this inadvertently led to two-pointers becoming more valuable. As teams focused their defensive efforts on stopping the three ball, they got spread thin, the rim opened wide up, offenses got rid of long mid-range jumpers, and for the first time in over 3 decades, two-pointers produced just as many points per shot as three-pointers. How do we know if or when teams are shooting too many threes? Well, intuitively, it would be at the point where three-pointers lose their statistical advantage over twos, which has already happened. The problem of too many threes has already statistically
so they shooting too many threes this season,
bro. But despite this, their teams are committed to shooting more threes than they previously did. They are aware of the data, and they still decided that upping their three-point rate is the answer. Steve Kerr has said that it would be hard for the Warriors to compete without shooting a high volume of threes. Mike Budenholzer said he thinks the sport is in a good place, and that threes create more space to be more athletic and dynamic going to the basket. Devin Booker, a player who utilizes and values the mid-range game as much as any player in the league, said the volume should be up. Attempting the three-point shot, not even making it, stretches out the defense and opens up better looks throughout the game. Teams know that the two-pointers today aren't as valuable as they are in spite of threes. Two-pointers today have become so valuable because of threes. As Devin Booker stated, even when they aren't going in, the spacing and ball movement that three-pointers provides to teams creates an incredible advantage compared to any other shot. In fact, it's no coincidence that points per shot on two-pointers began to climb rapidly at the same exact time as the three-point revolution. When you force teams to guard the three, you also force them to give up the two. This whole time, we've been watching these games thinking teams are shooting way too many threes. And all along, they weren't just shooting threes because they're worth more points. They've been shooting more threes to create more points in other areas. The direct benefits of volume three-pointers actually plateaued quite a while ago. Teams aren't yielding more points per shot on threes today than they did a decade ago. But the indirect benefits of volume threes continues to grow the more teams make and take them.
Hold on, bro. My bad, JxmyHighroller, bro. That dunk is crazy. That dunk was crazy, bro.
More points per shot on threes today than they did a decade ago. But the indirect benefits of volume threes continues to grow the more teams make and take them. Which means, in theory, the number of threes we're seeing teams take could continue to climb, despite the fact that they are already at the peak of their direct statistical advantage. But just how much further could this go? Well, this is where things get really interesting. If we ignore the caliber of teams and the efficiency of their shooting and just look purely at volume, then through over 150 games so far this season, teams have found by far the most success when they shoot somewhere between 46 and 52% of all of their shots from beyond the arc. This season, when teams put up a three-point attempt rate between 46 and 52%, they have won over 70% of the time. 70%. Meanwhile, teams that shoot at a rate outside of this hypothetical sweet spot have won just 48% of the time, which means despite as many three-pointers teams are shooting, statistically, they may still not be shooting enough. And it may only be a matter of time before teams use this information and slowly creep towards this rate of 50% of all of their shots consisting of three-pointers. Last week, Nick Wright had a great monologue discussing the advantages of volume three-point shooting and how teams who can design an effective offense built around them have an incredible statistical advantage.
the league needs to change some rules. They have finally figured out it's not only that 3 is worth more than 2, it's that 3 is worth a lot more than 2. Because there is a 50% premium.
My take on this, add a 4-point line, man. Add a 4-point line, bro. If they add a 4-point line, what would that ruin it, to be honest? Because then 4s would just be way more worth than 3s and 2s. But still, bro, I think I should add a 4-point line and make the NBA way more entertaining, even though it already is entertaining.
3-point shots.
Like, imagine Curry just hitting all 4-pointers.
Is probably what the Celtics did on opening night. Shoot 60 of them things. That is the best strategy. That is also terrible television. And I love the league. I love it. But this is not sustainable. At its core, the NBA is at its best when dudes are flying over people,
Facts.
meeting them at the rim. Hanging out at the 3-point line, hoisting 30-footers is not good TV.
But then look, them shooting 3s is opening up the lane, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we getting a lot of posters. If you notice this season, it's been a lot of posters already, bro. It's been a lot of posters already. Them shooting all them 3-pointers is opening up the lane for amazing dunk highlights, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
And you are going down a path where the games are less compelling television and the fans are worried, do the players even care? It's just a warning to a league I love. You are playing a dangerous, dangerous game.
If what the Warriors did in the mid-2010s broke the game of basketball,
man, best team of all time,
are eviscerating it. They have essentially cracked the code. Decades of experimenting with different schemes and offensive designs and player personnel through trial and error has led teams to the correct answer. Nothing beats a bunch of good looks at 3. It may not be pretty. It may lack the nuance and diversity that we used to see in the league, but it has been proven to be the most effective method of winning basketball games. How much further can this possibly go? Well, fortunately, there seems to be an upper limit to the ideal volume of 3s before the returns become diminished. That limit is probably about 50%. Unfortunately for us, the NBA is still nowhere near that limit.
Wow. Amazing video, JxmyHighroller. Amazing video. You know, I love these educational basketball videos. You feel what I'm saying? You really learn a lot just from watching videos like this, bro. You feel what I'm saying? But this just shows you right here that Stephen Curry is the most influential, best, perfectest, beautifulest, most amazingest player of all time to ever touch a basketball court. The Warriors is the best team of all time. And the Warriors are winning the championship this season. That's basically all I learned from this video, to be honest. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video, man. Like this video, subscribe if you're new, man. And yeah.